Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I am the Reverend Dr. Stephanie May, the minister here at First Parish. We gather today to celebrate the richness of the spiritual resources within our community and the vitality of the connections between us. May this time deepen our gratitude for the plurality of voices among us and for the gift of the earth which sustains us all. From whatever religious tradition you come from, we are glad you are here.
Hello, my name is Alyssa Lee. I'm the ministerial intern here at First Parish in Wayland. Today, as we begin, we would like to acknowledge the following Indigenous peoples on whose traditional homelands we live, work, and gather today: the Massachusetts, the Nipmuc, the Wampanoag, and the Pawtucket. We acknowledge their ancestors, particularly Carto of the Massachusetts tribe, who was steward of much of the land now encompassing Sudbury and Wayland, when European settlers arrived to colonize this place in 1638. We seek to understand, acknowledge, and remember the painful, ongoing history of war, genocide, and forced removal of Indigenous peoples by European settlers. And we offer a living celebration of the Indigenous communities who are not just part of the past, but who continue to live and make new history here today. May we all commit to deepening our relationships with Indigenous communities and to being their allies and working for justice.
Hello, friends. I am Cantor Hollis Schachner from Temple Shir Tikva in Wayland, just up the road, and it is a very special privilege to be here because our synagogue community was first gathered in your beautiful space here at First Parish. So we were friends back from the beginning of our community's earliest days, and to be here praying together leading up to Thanksgiving is a joy and a blessing. Speaking of joy and blessing, in Jewish tradition, we're taught that we should aim to say not 1, not 10, not 20, not 50, but 100 blessings of gratitude or appreciation a day. We're taught to aim to stop and notice all the gifts in front of us, and then to name them and to bless them. It's aspirational, but our morning liturgy gets us down that road by offering us blessings that we can say for the abundance and bounty around us. And Ilu Finu Male Shirat Kayam is one of those blessings from our morning liturgy. Even if our mouths were as full of song as the sea, still we could never sufficiently express our gratitude and thanks to you, God. So this is the group participation part of the service. There are 3 parts to this melody that we're going to sing now, and I think my friends Kit and Jane were going to help out. So in a moment, you'll learn your first part, and then we'll learn the second part, and I will sing the third part. Wherever you're most comfortable. So let's say these words together. Ilu,
Ilu,
Finu,
Finu,
Male,
Male,
Shirat,
Shirat,
Kayam.
Kayam.
So the first part goes like this. Ilu, Lulu, Finu, Nunu, Ilu, Lulu, Finu, Nunu. Try that. Ilu, Lulu, Finu, Nunu, Ilu, Lulu, Finu. Keep that going. Ilu, Lulu, Finu, Nunu, Ilu, Lulu, Finu. One more time. Ilu, Lulu, Finu, Nunu, Ilu, Lulu, Finu, Nunu, Ilu, Lulu, Finu, Nunu, Ilu, Lulu, Finu. You sound beautiful. Second part, a little trickier if you're brave. A little higher up, goes like this. Ilu, Lulu, Finu, Nunu, Malele, Shira, Kayam. Let's try that together. Ilululu, finununu, malele shirat kayam. Ilululu, finununu, malele shirat kayam. Oh, surprise ending. Ilululu, finununu, malele shirat kayam. Ilululu, finununu, malele shirat kayam. Really beautiful again. Ilululu, finununu, malele shirat kayam. Ilululu, finununu, malele shirakayam. Gorgeous. So we're going to put those two parts together on this side of the room. We're going to sing together starting now. Ilululu, finununu, ilululu, finu with Kit. Keep it going. Ilululu, finununu, ilu. A little louder now. Finununu, ilululu, finununu. Ilululu, finununu, ilululu, finununu, ilululu. Keep that going with Kit now. Ilululu, finununu, malele shirat kayam. Ilululu, finununu, malele shirat kayam. Keep it going. Ilululu, finununu, malele shirat kayam. Ilululu, finununu, malele shirat kayam. Keep that going now. Oh, ilu, oh, finu, malele shirat kayam. 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 Ilululu, finununu, malele shirat kayam. Ilululu, finununu, malele shirat kayam. Everyone on the first part. Ilululu, finununu, ilululu, finununu, ilululu, finununu, ilululu, finununu. That was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Kit. Thank you, Jane.
Hello, I'm Father David O'Leary from Good Shepherd Parish. I'd like to share a prayer for our earth from Pope Francis's encyclical Laudato Si. Pope Francis' encyclical Laudato Si came out in 2015. The 184-page encyclical covers a variety of topics, but mostly concerns the environment. The name Laudato Si comes from St. Francis of Assisi's Italian prayer, Canticle of the Sun, which praises God through the elements of creation, like Brother Sun, Sister Moon, and our Sister Mother Earth. Here are some excerpts. I believe that St. Francis is the example par excellence of care of the vulnerable and of the integral ecology lived out joyfully and authentically amongst all peoples. If the simple fact of our human life moves people to care for the environment by which we are all a part, then all believers in turn realize it's their responsibility within creation and towards nature and the Creator to be the essential part of caring for the earth. A healthy relationship with creation is one dimension of overall personal conversion, which entails the recognition of our errors, sins, faults, and failures towards creation. And a heartfelt repentance and desire for change is needed for the good of humanity. All of us can cooperate as instruments of God for the care of creation, each according to his or her own culture, experience, involvements, and talents. Because all creatures are connected, each must be cherished with love and respect, for all of us as living creatures are dependent upon one another. There can be no ecology without an adequate anthropology. When the human person is considered as simply one being among others, than the product of chance, of physical determinism, then our overall sense of responsibility is diminished. The great Saint Teresa of Lisieux invites us to practice the little way of love, not to miss out on a kind word, a smile, or a small gesture towards which sows peace and friendship. An integral ecology also made up of simple daily gestures which break with logic of violence, exploitation, and selfishness is the way to start.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. Obviously, I'm not Brother Abrar. I'm here in his stead today. He couldn't be here. My name is Dina Surur. In the relationship between gratitude and the creation of the heavens and the earth, one need look no further than the 55th chapter of the Quran, titled Surat al-Rahman, which translates to the chapter of the beneficent, or the chapter of the most gracious, or the compassionate. In it is related the story of the creation of the sun and the moon, of the stars and the trees, of the heavens raised on high. In the 10th verse, it says, "And the earth he has laid for all his creatures and all beings." And shortly thereafter, it asks, "So which of the favors of your Lord will you deny?" A rhetorical question that the chapter goes on to repeat 31 times, asking after each creation mentioned, "So which of the favors of your Lord will you deny?" As if to ask, which of these many creations and blessings will we continue to be ungrateful for? The chapter goes on to relate the creation of fruits, of grain, of scented plants, the creation of man from clay like that makes pottery, the creation of the east and the west, the creation of the seas containing pearls and coral. And from these grand creations, the chapter then pivots to talk of the more intimate creations that relate to our daily provision, the creation of seeds and water and fire. And it states, and now God speaks to us directly, and he asks, "Have you seen the seed which you cultivate? Is it you who make it grow, or are we the grower and fosterer of growth? Have you observed the water which you drink? Is it you who bring it down from the rain clouds, or are we the one who send it down? If we willed, we could make it saltish or bitter, then why are you not thankful? Have you observed the fire that you ignite? Is it you who originate trees to grow for it, or are we the originator and provider?" And so my hope is that we do not relegate gratitude to a day or a week, but that we attempt, my prayer for myself and for everyone, that we attempt to cultivate an attitude of gratitude throughout the whole year for the many blessings and creations around us that unfortunately many of us are heedless of and take for granted. Assalamu alaikum and peace be upon you.
Lakota Baha'i Kevin Locke references a much-loved Baha'i prayer known as "Blessed is the spot and the land and the sea, where mention of God hath been made, and his praise glorified." And this invocation, inspired in honor of his mother, the late Baha'i educator and native rights activist, Patsy Locke, who embodied the counsel of Baha'u'llah to be anxiously concerned with the needs of the age ye live in, and center your deliberations on its exigencies and requirements. Grandfather above, we acknowledge the holy ones you have sent upon this land to kindle the sacred fire in the hearts of us, your grandchildren. We are eternally grateful that in ancient times you have sent Deganawida the peacemaker, white buffalo calf woman, breath maker, sweet medicine, and myriad others to breathe holiness and beauty upon this turtle island and draw your grandchildren here and to teach us your laws and to enable us to draw close to you and especially to love and cherish our relative Grandmother Earth and all that dwell upon her. In particular, we acknowledge the holy ones you have sent to the spot upon which we stand, and the nations and kindreds who have been the custodians of that sacred trust. We ask that you breathe upon and fan the embers of the fire of love and faith in our hearts and minds, that our footsteps may tread your path, and we may restore peace and order upon this blessed land. To do this, Baha'is throughout the world, individually and collectively, strive to be involved in the life of society, working shoulder to shoulder with diverse groups. We'd like to share with you our learning about what inspires transformative social action. Understanding the character of progress is key. That civilization has both a material and a spiritual dimension. That humanity is on the threshold of its collective maturity. That there are destructive and constructive forces operating in the world, which serve to propel humanity along the path towards its full maturity. That relationships are necessary to sustain society and must be recast in the light of the progressive revelation that Kevin Locke referenced. That the transformation required must occur simultaneously within human consciousness and in the structure of social institutions. The role of knowledge in the development of society means that there's complementarity between science and religion. There's an imperative for spiritual and material education. Both the generation and the application of knowledge also have implications for methodology, the influence of values inherent to technology, its relevance to social progress, and analyzing concepts such as individualism, power, authority, personal comfort, selfless service, work, and excellence. Finally, at the heart of the emerging Baha'i conceptual framework for social action lie elements that describe beliefs about fundamental issues of existence, such as the nature of the human being. Who can measure the heights to which human intelligence, liberated from its shackles, will soar? And the purpose of life. Who can visualize the realms which the human spirit, vitalized by the outpouring light of divine guidance, will discover? the oneness of humanity, equality of men and women. These keys to social action are not static. The way in which they are understood and find expression in our lives, in our communities, and in an ever-advancing civilization is evolving. Little Baha'i quote for you. If you desire with all your heart friendship with every race on earth, your thought, spiritual and positive, will spread. It will become the desire of others, growing stronger and stronger until it reaches the minds of all.
We now invite you to sing together hymn number 159, This Is My Song. If you're here in person with us, you can use the gray book in front of you, number 159. If you're online, there are lyrics in your order of service. However, in the second verse, there is an error. It should be, oh, hear my song, thou God of all the nations. Please rise in body or in spirit as we sing together hymn 159. Please be seated. As a community, interfaith community service, this service historically both includes the voices of the interfaith clergy and representatives of the congregations in town, and also representative of an organization in town. And this year, as you might have picked up, we have a theme of the environment, and we have a speaker who is an amazing environmental activist, Kat Vanderstraeten. She is a co-founder and works with both the local Wayland Energize as well as the statewide Mass Energize. She is the lead coordinator of Energize Wayland, an associate member of the Wayland Energy and Climate Committee, and a coordinator for the Wayland Climate Mobilization, aka MOB. With Ellen Tone, the Kat started Mass Energize in 2017. In 2015, she received Wayland's Lydia Mariah Child Award for her service to the town in all things green. Kat was also the coach for Wayland's 2 successful Solarize Mass campaigns and the founder of Transition Wayland in 2010. Her full-time activism has followed the Transition Town's view that the local is key to resilience because the local is personal and the local is everywhere. Kat is also a certified permaculture designer, a graduate of E. Ingram's Life in the Soil classes, a beekeeper and a bee consultant. I think you've helped us with our hives. And a systems thinking enthusiast. She holds a master's in communication science and a PhD in philosophy, both from the University of Brussels, Belgium. Thank you, Kat, for being with us today.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Thank you for having me. Actually, I should say thank you for having me again. I spoke at the Interfaith service in 2011, and I spoke then about Transition Wayland. A lot of things have changed in those 11 years, and not just the weather, but some things stayed the same. And that is that back then I spoke about love, specifically love through household action on climate change. And that is still my thing. Now, household is an interesting word, and I love etymology, so just bear with me. House comes from the Proto-Germanic word hus, which was probably also the root of to hide. And the verb to hold meant to watch over. And the word to hold meant to watch over, to tend, and to cherish. And the noun hold meant a place of refuge, like a hold, the keep. Maybe that is one of the reasons why we think of our household as a small, contained, private place that is separate from the big world, where the big events and decisions take place. That big world intrudes on our household, more and more so these days. But we think, my tiny household can't really influence the big world. In the big scheme of things, for instance, my emissions don't contribute that much to climate change, right? Nor can any behavior change on my part, any action that I take against climate change, make a dent in global emissions. This low estimation of our influence and our power cuts both ways, of course, and I believe it is mistaken. I am more and more convinced that the hyperlocal, the household, is where all climate action begins and ends. And I will prove it to you in just 3 points. First of all, 30 out of 80 solutions from Project Drawdown, which is sort of a big inventory of climate change solutions, rely directly on individual and household behavior change. Together, these solutions can help reduce no less than 1/3 of projected global emissions, and that is not a small impact. Secondly, we obviously also need the other 2/3 of the solutions, right? The big world solutions. Those are things like international treaties, federal policies, industry decisions and innovations, scientific research, and large cultural movements. Okay, we need those, but I just want to point out that in the end, it is the members of the household who need to join, vote for, implement, fund, and pay for, and live with those new climate laws, those technologies, and those infrastructures. Whether it is installing a heat pump in their house, voting for a tax on carbon, or consuming less. If households are not ready, big world solutions will not find purchase. And then my third point is that we should also consider that policymakers and officials, business managers and stockholders and scientists themselves live in households. Recent studies actually suggest that we have underestimated how much their household behaviors, their financial habits, how they love their families and host their friends, and how they live their faith, how much those influence their professional behaviors and decisions in the big world. So power then to the households. Unfortunately, most households won't act. Most still need a lot of education, motivation, and lots of support to act. And now studies show that local organizers who are trusted neighbors are in the best position to empower them. They have more, deeper, and longer lasting influence than any politician, any salesman, media outlet, or scientist. And those neighbor organizers have been doing the work of supporting households on climate action in our towns for decades. They are passionate, hardworking, and the vast majority are volunteers. Well, you may say with good reason, I don't see how they're changing much of anything. It just keeps getting worse. There are a lot of reasons for that, but one of them is that these volunteers get no recognition, no materials, no funding, no training, and they have a hard time recruiting their neighbors to join the effort. Underestimated and under-resourced, they operate at a fraction of their true promise. This while the need and the demand for climate action increases, as do the urgency and the complexity of the matter, putting ever more burden on them. Make no mistake, the general feeling among organizers is one of overwhelm and exhaustion. So why do I keep doing this? Over 11 years now. Well, it's because I believe that it can work and it must work. And this brings me finally to Mass Energize. When Ellen Tone and I started Energize Wayland, we set ambitious goals, though no more ambitious than what is needed in this situation, what this situation demands of us. But we were well aware that we lacked the tools, resources, and the people to make it happen. And we knew also that all the other organizers in all the other towns were in the same boat. We looked and looked, but found no organization that was going to help us, not just us, but all of us, at least not on our budget. So we also co-founded Mass Energize, which I'm both proud and sad to say is one of the very few organizations working to address the dire needs of local organizers. Mass Energize is a nonprofit that currently offers them an array of resources, playbooks, toolkits, trainings, and a customizable web platform. You can see the local version on energizewayland.org. Mass Energize also gathers now over 25 groups to network, inspire, advise, and support one another. We offer all this for low fees that even a small grassroots group can afford. We're also still mostly a volunteer-run organization ourselves, but we are changing that game as well, and we're starting to hire. Is it working? You tell me. Collectively, Mass Energized communities have engaged 10,000 households who collectively have taken 20,000 climate actions, and we just got started. So what can you do? Be vocal. Research shows that Americans greatly underestimate how concerned their fellow citizens and neighbors are about climate change. In the context of what I've been saying, that is no great surprise. But you are actually a caring majority, although unfortunately also a silent one. So talk about it loudly everywhere and anytime. Also, of course, act. Keep on acting. Go to energizewayland.org to find a lot of actions, as well as steps to take and volunteer coaches to help you take them. And when you're done, come back to energizewayland.org, log those actions, so you can let everyone know that you care. Lastly, also consider supporting Mass Energize financially. Every day, more communities knock on our door, needing more resources, but we don't want to raise the fees. We rely on individual donations to step it up, and step it up we must. There's a beautiful saying, for the more they loved us, the more we loved the world. I'll say that again. For the more they loved us, the more we loved the world. The household is the place from which small practical acts of care radiate out into the world. It is the place from which we love the world. Today I ask you to take that to heart and to take it home. Thank you.
Thank you, Kat. I've gone to these services for so many years here in Wayland, and every time I come and listen, I think, what a wonderful town this is, and just full of talented, graceful, smart people. And so I'm thankful for this town. And Kat, thank you so much for those challenging words and for your passion and for your guidance in activism. So when we affirm something like what Kat said, we do it, one way we do it is we give signs of our approval and our concern. And so our offering today is going to go to Mass Energize. And so give generously, please. Also, just note the link just below the online donations, or that just online donations there. So take this home with you, and sometime this weekend, make a donation. All right.
I'll try to not stand on the bench. I'll try to squeeze into this little spot right here.
Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
A reading from Psalm 65. Praise is due to you, O God, in Zion, and to you shall vows be performed. O you who answer prayer, to you all flesh shall come. When deeds of iniquity overwhelm us, you forgive our transgressions. Happy are those whom you choose and bring near to live in your courts. We shall be satisfied with the goodness of your house, your holy temple. By awesome deeds you answer us with deliverance, O God of our salvation. You are the hope of all the ends of the earth and of the farthest seas. By your strength you established the mountains, you are girded with might. You silence the roaring of the seas, the roaring of their waves, the tumult of the peoples. Those who live at earth's farthest bounds are awed by your signs. You make the gateways of the morning and the evening shout for joy. You visit the earth and water it, you greatly enrich it. The river of God is full of water. You provide the people with grain, for so you have prepared it. You water its furrows abundantly, settling its ridges, softening it with showers and blessing its growth. You crown the year with your bounty. Your wagon tracks overflow with richness. The pastures of the wilderness overflow. The hills gird themselves with joy. The meadows clothe themselves with flocks. The valleys deck themselves with grain. They shout and sing together for joy. Let us be in prayer. This is a prayer by Karen Cassidy, a certified lay minister of a United Methodist Church. Dearest Holy One, every day is the day that you have made, and at this time of year we give thanks for the harvests, the beauty of the changing seasons, the beauty of your creation. As the psalmist wrote, everything shouts and sings for joy for the goodness and blessings you provide. Clean water, fresh air, fertile soil, all living things you created to nourish and sustain us, and to show us your love for us. Yet somewhere along the way, we have begun to believe that the beauty and gift of creation was meant for only a few in the world, not all, and that we could take it and use it, not cherish it or share it. And so clean water is drying up, fertile lands are becoming dust bowls, our air is filled with pollutants, and food around the world is becoming scarce. We are sorry, Lord. We know we must do better, for our lives and the lives of others depend on it. We ask your forgiveness for treating that which you have so graciously given as if it were only given to a few. Help us to realize that it is time that we learn to be satisfied with the good things of your house, the blessings of your sacred temple, and give thanks for the wonderful things you do to save us. Do not let us ever forget that what you have so freely given to us, we are to give to others. To God be the glory forever and ever. Amen.
Jewish tradition teaches of our mandate for tikkun olam, literally healing our broken world with acts of chesed, acts of righteousness, goodness, and loving kindness. And we in Wayland right now are certainly on a path to that as we gather together for the purposes of giving thanks and honoring the bounty and beauty of the world and working to better it. So we sing these words together, Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Say that with me, Olam Chesed Yibaneh, which translates to, I will build a world from chesed, from loving kindness. Olam chesed yibaneh, yadadai-dai-dai, yadadai-dai. Olam chesed yibaneh, olam chesed yibaneh. Olam chesed yibaneh, olam chesed yibaneh. Olam chesed yibaneh, olam chesed yibaneh. I will build this world from love. I will build this world from love. And you will build this world. You will build this world from love. If we build this world and if we build this world from love, then God will build this world, then God will build this world from love. Olam chesed yibaneh, olam chesed Olam chesed Olam chesed yibaneh, olam chesed Olam chesed
Before sharing the closing words, I just want to make sure to invite you all to a small, simple reception of cookies and cider in the large room below the sanctuary, our vestry. And most importantly, a chance to meet some neighbors and to connect with each other. The closing words come from Eric Williams, a lay leader of the Unitarian Universalist congregation in Lafayette, Colorado. They are based in the earth-based spirituality tradition of calling the directions, the 4 directions of the earth, and then the 2 directions above and below. May the firmness of the earth be yours. May the flow of the water be yours. May the freedom of the air be yours. May the fierceness of the fire be yours. May all of the gifts of this earth, the below and the above, be with you now and remain with you always. Go now in peace. Amen.